Hello boys and girls, this week in art we're going to be making a fall leaf and we're going to be using visual texture to add patterns and details to our leaf. We can use markers, crayons, colored pencils. I'm using markers and crayons to decorate my fall leaf. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw the center of the leaf, and that is a long vertical line that goes down the center of my paper. Next, I'm going to draw like a letter V, a diagonal line on one side and a diagonal line on the other side. This is going to be the veins inside the leaf. And I'm making them bigger as I go towards the bottom. So small at the top and bigger at the bottom. Next, I'm going to do some wavy lines that go and curve around the shape of the stem and the veins that I've drawn. And it's going to create the shape of the leaf. I'm going to draw a box around the stem, and I'm going to extend my lines all the way to the edge of the leaf. And by doing that, I now have different sections that I can add lots of different textures, and I'm going to draw those textures by creating different types of lines inside those sections. So in this first section, I'm going to draw some diagonal lines that mimic the same shape of the diagonal line on the sides of that section. I'm going to repeat those same lines on the other section at the top. I'm going to change the color of my crayon, and I'm going to do some loopy lines in this section to create some visual texture in this section of my leaf. Lots of different loopy lines in this section. And again, I'm going to repeat and mimic the same type of line, the loopy line, on the other side, but I'm going to use a different color for my line this time. In my next section, I'm going to do some spirals with my orange crayon. And I'm going to also do spirals in the next section next to it, but I'm going to do them in yellow this time. In my next section, I'm going to do some bumpy lines with my blue crayon. So some bumpy lines all the way from one part of the leaf to the end of the leaf. And again, I'm going to repeat the same type of line, a bumpy line using a different color crayon. And in my last section, I'm going to do some lines that go all the way from the center of my leaf to the edge of my leaf. And I'm going to do that on the other side with my other color crayon. So now you can see I have lots of different texture, lots of different lines inside my leaf. You don't have to do the same lines that I did. You can choose different types of lines to do. You can do a line of shapes. You can do some zigzag lines, some broken lines, some dotted lines, any type of lines that you can think of that look like they're creating texture. So we're learning about visual texture and how you can make your artwork look like it has texture to it, even though it's just a drawing. Around my leaf, I am adding a shape of stars. You can do any shape that you want that can go around your leaf as well. So now I'm going to color in each section using markers. You can use paint if you want to. I'm using markers, and markers go really well over crayons, but if you're using crayons to go on top of it, please make sure that you go around the shape and you're not just coloring on top. The marker resists the crayon because a crayon has a wax texture to it, and the water from the marker doesn't like to go over the crayon. So you'll be able to see the crayon through the marker, kind of like watercolor paint. So if you're using watercolor paint, it's the same idea. You can just paint over the crayon because the water and the wax from the crayon resist each other and they don't go over on top of it and cover up the artwork underneath. So I'm using markers, but you can use any material that you have available to you. So I'm going to color in each different section, making sure that I'm not using the same color to go over the lines. So I'm using a lighter blue on top of a darker blue that I did, but I'm not using a darker blue on the darker blue because that would make it so that I couldn't see my lines anymore. Just like I'm not going to use a yellow marker on top of my yellow crayon lines because I wouldn't be able to see it. But a lighter color on a darker color is perfectly fine. So I'm going to go through and color in all of my leaf using lots of different colors. You are welcome to color in your leaf any way that you want. So now that I have my leaf entirely colored in, I'm going to go around and color in the area around my leaf. And I'm going to use lots of different colors to color in the space around my leaf. I still want to make sure that I'm using colors that will make my leaf stand out. So I don't want to color in the area that's green of the leaf and color in green around it. So make sure your leaf is standing out from your background. All right, boys and girls, and that is our project for this week. We are creating a fall leaf using visual texture and coloring it in with lots of beautiful, bright colors. I hope you enjoy creating your fall leaf with your visual texture. I can't wait to see what you create and what you come up with for your different details and patterns. Thank you so much.